today's question, how often should I meet with my team? So this is a question that I get asked quite a bit, and we meet with our team at least once a week. We find that is a really good balance of checking on what happened last week and also getting ready for the week coming up. Now, we're always talking to each other via Slack. So that's a really good opportunity to keep up with, daily conversations that don't belong in Asana. And for us in Asana, we keep everything that is project-based there. So if somebody has a question about a picture that we're going to use for social media or one of the podcasts or a project that we're coming up, those all live in Asana. We want to make sure that anything to do with those projects lives there, but we use Slack for our regular, day-to-day communication. We find it's much more effective than email because things can get really busy in email. There's so much email going back and forth. And so being able to Slack each other is just a more consistent communication that we found. But what we do is we set up the weekly meetings. Ours are every Monday afternoon. And you might be asking yourself, well, why would you do it Monday afternoon? Doesn't it make more sense to do it Monday morning? It does if all of your people are based in the US. But for us, our people are all over the world. We are not just, we do have people in the US, of course, but we also have people in Canada, overseas. We're just kind of all over as this team has grown and our business has evolved. It's just kind of created this melting pot of amazing people. So Monday afternoons work best for us. Now, we set up those meetings in our Google Calendar. The link to the Zoom call lives inside that calendar invite. So that way you don't have people that are, running around trying to search through their email to find the link. They're late to the meeting because they can't remember where it's at, or they put it, in a different spot. So just makes it easier if when I invite everyone to the meeting that it lives in their appointment. Now, the other thing that we do too is we've created an accountability system. So what I typically do for our meetings, depending on the project or who it is, I'll send out a agenda essentially before the meeting. If there's something specific that I want to cover, a lot of times these meetings are just check-ins, just to say, hey, how are you? How are things going? And I feel like the current time that we're in right now, that's important because people have a lot of stuff going on that you might not be aware of. There's that saying that you never know what battle people are fighting. That might be the same for your employees too. So these meetings are really good to check in, say, hey, how's it going? And then talk about the upcoming projects. Now, the important thing about accountability is that you are making sure that everybody is showing up on time. Now, in the beginning, it might be a little rough because people are still getting used to it. If there's a time zone change that you're dealing with it, that can sometimes happen. So you have to give people grace on that, but you want to make sure that everybody's aware of what time the meeting is and that it starts promptly at the time you say it's going to start, which means you've got to be on time too. Don't be running late. Don't be running around with your hair on fire and you're like, oh my gosh, my meeting started 10 minutes ago. No, you have to be respectful of people's times, even your employees' time. We don't want your employees waiting for you to show up and they're like, is she coming? What's happening? Should I just jump off? These days with all of us working from home, it can be really difficult between family members, children, things happening. So you want to make sure that you allow your employees enough flexibility while still maintaining enough structure that they should be at this spot at a certain time to sit down and talk about with you what's going on.